Hey, today's question comes from Alexis Sabbath of Dearborn, Michigan, who writes, I spoke to an owner that has a nice house with an ARV around $160,000 and the homeowner owes $90,000 on a mortgage. Would this be an owner finance type deal? In speaking with the owner, she has it for sale for $158,000 but would take $155,000. Yes and no, maybe it could be, who knows? There's not really anything that's particularly a owner finance deal. About any deal could be an owner finance deal if that's what the seller wants to do with it. If they're willing to do that, you could have one that, if the mortgage was $155,000, she could still do an owner finance and do what they call a wraparound mortgage on it. It's not necessarily anything particular that makes a deal an owner finance deal. This, I would probably look at it more as like a subject to see about taking over the first mortgage and, if anything, doing a second mortgage for some of the difference. But here's the main thing that sticks out on this. Why are you chasing this deal? It's a $160,000 house. She's $155,000. Unless you get her to come significantly lower on it, we're not in the business here as investors of buying houses at retail value. If that was the case, I could just go out and we could go out to any realtor or any place and just buy houses all day long at market value, whatever the homeowner's wanting for it. That's not what we're in business for. We're in business for deals. Now, I would continue to talk to her and find out if there's a deal there. How firm is she on the 155? What exactly does she have to do? Maybe you could even, set up something creatively where, I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, but let's say, you do a subject to on it, and some of the portion that she wants gets a deferred payment for 6 months or something like that, let's say, and that carries over to the new buyer who can get in there if that needs to be rehabbed or something like that. They get a little leeway on having to make payments on the second part of the mortgage, like to her. They just have to pay on the first. It can get really complicated. But there's nothing really that stands out as far as this being an owner finance type deal, because you could do it anyway. You could do it just a straight purchase. You could do it owner finance. You could do it subject to. There's lots of opportunities there. But again, the main issue is, why would you pay so much for a house? You're an investor, not just a home buyer who buys at retail value. There's no magic in that. That doesn't make you wealthy. That doesn't pay your bills. You go out and pay a lot for it. You'll never wholesale it. If that's what your goal is, to wholesale it, you'll never wholesale it at those numbers. Not even close. Maybe, if you got it for just the 90 that's owed on it, yeah, you could wholesale it out then, but the portion that she's wanting, that's what you're going to have to cover. So find out how firm she is on that, where she's at with it, how, strongly they have to have that price, and then go from there. If they just don't budge, or, we'll come down to $152,000, it's a $160,000 house, there's just not a deal there. There's not a deal to be had. Don't get stuck chasing deals that you just feel you have to have because the homeowner's talking to you. And I know a lot of investors, beginning especially, get in that trap. Well, this homeowner's talking to me. I got to make a deal work. This is the only person that's ever talked to me. I've got to try to make a deal work so I can make some money. There's no money there. None. Not at those numbers. But do talk. Find out what their bottom line is, what they're willing to do, what maybe really creatively you could work out. But bottom line, what would they take for it? Significantly lower.